The odd humming sound started at precisely 3:42 a.m., waking Dr. Olivia Reed from a fitful sleep. As the lead xenobiologist at the Global Contact Initiative, she'd been preparing for first contact for over a decade, but nothing in her training covered waking to find a shimmering blue entity hovering at the foot of her bed. "Your sleeping patterns are inefficient," the entity stated, its voice like wind chimes through a voice modulator. "Humans waste approximately 1/3 of their lifespans in unconscious states." Olivia reached slowly for the emergency beacon. On her nightstand? What are you? The blue shimmer coalesced into a more humanoid shape, though still translucent and glowing. "I'm Krelix, Senior Behavioral Analyst from the Centauri Collective. Your species has been selected for study." Olivia's heart hammered against her ribs, but years of training kept her voice steady. "This isn't the protocol. First contact is supposed to happen through official channels. There are procedures created by humans who have never met non-terrestrial beings," Krelix interrupted. "They would be ineffective. Direct observation provides superior data. It's the xenobiologist assigned to establish communication frameworks with potential alien visitors." Olivia should have been in a government facility surrounded by military personnel for this conversation. Not in her apartment, wearing faded pajamas with cartoon rockets on them. "Why me?" she asked, slowly sitting up. "You have dedicated your life to understanding non-human intelligence," Krelix replied. "Your research on communication patterns across species made you the optimal selection. You seek understanding. Others seek weapons." Olivia couldn't argue with that assessment. The military division of her program constantly pushed for defensive applications of her research. "What exactly do you want to study?" she asked. "Scientific curiosity gradually replacing fear, mating behaviors, and pair bonding?" The entity's form shifted slightly, taking on more defined features, almost human, but with proportions just wrong enough to be unsettling. "Your species forms complex emotional attachments that influence decision-making in ways my kind cannot. Comprehend? It is both weakness and strength." Olivia laughed nervously. "And you picked me for this?" "I haven't had a date in 3 years. My last relationship ended because I was too dedicated to my work." "Precisely." Krelix moved closer, and the air around Olivia tingled with static electricity. "You understand dedication to knowledge. You will help me understand how humans connect." "A scientist, not a dating coach," Olivia protested. "Besides, I should really report this contact to my superiors." "That would be unwise," Krelix said, and something in his tone made Olivia's skin prickle. "My presence here is not officially sanctioned by my collective. I am what you might call independent researcher." "You're here illegally?" Olivia's eyes widened. "Even by your own people's standards." "The collective believes direct interaction with developing species is dangerous," Krelix explained. "But their methods are too slow. Observation without interaction produces incomplete data." Olivia considered her options. Protocol demanded she'll report this immediately, but her scientific instinct recognized an unprecedented opportunity. "Happens if I help you?" "Knowledge exchange," Krelix said simply. "You learn about my species. I learn about yours. Mutual benefit." "And if I refuse?" The alien's form rippled. "Then I select another subject. And you remember this as a vivid dream." Olivia took a deep breath. "I'll help on one condition. I document everything." "For science, acceptable," Krelix agreed. "Though your government cannot know until my research concludes." "How long will your research take?" Olivia asked. "By your timekeeping, approximately 1 lunar cycle." The alien began to drift around her bedroom, examining her possessions with evident curiosity. He stopped at her bookshelf, blue light pulsing as he scanned the titles. "You have many books on human attraction, yet you claim no practical experience." "Theory and practice are different things," Olivia said defensively. "This is exactly why direct study is necessary." Krelix's form brightened with what might have been excitement. "Tomorrow we begin. I will observe you in your natural environment. Y2 can't just follow me around. People will notice a glowing blue alien." "I can modify my appearance," Krelix said, and before her eyes, his translucent form solidified, taking on the appearance of a tall, lean man with striking features and silvery hair. Only his eyes remained unusual, too large, too bright, with vertical pupils that contracted as he met her gaze. Is this acceptable camouflage? Olivia stared, momentarily speechless. It's better. We'll need a backstory for you, and clothes. Definitely clothes. Human social customs are needlessly complex, Krelix observed. I look forward to understanding why. As dawn broke over the horizon, Olivia realized her life's work had just taken a turn she could never have predicted. For better or worse, she was now responsible for humanity's first extended alien encounter, and it was all happening in her one-bedroom apartment. 2 weeks into Krelix's research project, Olivia found herself explaining the concept of personal space to an alien who seemed physically incapable of respecting it. Humans maintain invisible boundaries, she explained for the third time that day as Krelix hovered inches from her face, studying her pupil dilation. It's considered intrusive to stand this close unless you're intimate with someone. Fascinating, Krelix replied, not moving back at all. Yet in crowded transportation vessels, you tolerate much closer proximity with strangers. That's different. It's situational, Olivia sighed. Could you please step back? I cannot, Krelix said simply. Olivia frowned. What do you mean you can't? The research bond is complete, he explained, as if discussing the weather. We are now tethered. Separation beyond 3 meters will cause significant discomfort for both of us. Olivia's jaw dropped. You... You did what? Without my consent? It was necessary for accurate data collection. Krelix's silver eyes showed no remorse.
The bond
allows me to monitor your physiological responses directly. Much more efficient. Olivia tried to walk away, only to feel an uncomfortable pulling sensation in her chest after 2 steps. Panic flooded her system. Undo it now. It's possible until the research concludes. Krelix followed her movement perfectly, maintaining their distance. The bond dissolves naturally after data collection. You had no right. Olivia's voice rose sharply. This is exactly why your people have non-interference policies. Your anger response is remarkably strong, Krelix noted, producing a small device that hummed as it scanned her. Fascinating correlation between emotional state and neurotransmitter fluctuations. Olivia grabbed the scanner and threw it across the room. I'm not your lab rat. You can't just biologically tether yourself to another sentient being without permission. Krelix tilted his head, genuine confusion crossing his features. But you agreed to help with my research. Research? Yes. Creating some weird alien bond. No. Olivia ran her hands through her hair frantically. What exactly does this bond do? Can you read my thoughts? Only emotional states and basic physiological functions, Krelix explained. Heart rate, hormone levels, neural activity patterns. I cannot access specific thoughts. Small comfort, Olivia muttered. The implications were sinking in. How am I supposed to go to work like this? To the bathroom? To sleep? We adapt, Krelix said simply. My species bonds routinely for research. It becomes natural quickly. Your species clearly has different boundaries, Olivia said, trying to calm herself with deep breaths. How long until this bond dissolves? Krelix hesitated for the first time. Approximately 2 Earth weeks, perhaps longer, as human biology. Is ... responsive in unexpected ways? 2 weeks? Olivia collapsed onto her couch, mind racing through the logistics nightmare ahead. My department meeting is tomorrow. Can't bring an alien to a classified government facility. Perhaps a temporary leave of absence is required, Krelix suggested. For personal reasons, Olivia laughed bitterly. Yes, very personal. I'm literally attached to an alien. That night, lying in bed with Krelix, maintaining his vigilant position, exactly 3 meters away in the corner of her bedroom. Olivia stared at the ceiling, wondering how her life had become so absurd so quickly. Your thought patterns are extremely active despite your body's fatigue, Krelix observed quietly. That's because I'm trying to figure out how to hide an alien for 2 weeks while maintaining my career insanity, she replied. I am sorry, Krelix said, the words sounding unfamiliar on his tongue. My enthusiasm for research overrode proper consideration of your autonomy. It was the first time he'd acknowledged any wrongdoing. Olivia felt a strange tug in her chest that wasn't from their physical bond. Just promise me no more surprises, she said firmly. Full disclosure on all alien research methods from now on. Agreed, Krelix replied. After a moment of silence, he added, While you sleep, would you prefer I remain still or continue my movement patterns? I notice humans find certain repetitive movements disturbing during rest periods. Olivia couldn't help but smile slightly. Just sit still and be quiet, please. As you wish, Krelix responded, and for once did exactly as she asked. The warning came at midnight, sharp, painful pulse through their bond that jolted Olivia from sleep. Krelix stood rigid by the window, his human disguise flickering to reveal his natural blue form. We must leave immediately, he said, voice tight with what Olivia now recognized as fear. The collective has discovered my unauthorized research. They've dispatched enforcers. Olivia rubbed her eyes. Enforcers? What does that mean? It means we have approximately 17 minutes before. They arrived to terminate this research project. And potentially us with it. Olivia was fully awake now. Terminate, as in, yes. Krelix began gathering her essential documents. Collective considers unauthorized bonds with developing species a severe violation. They believe it contaminates both societies. So what's the plan? Olivia asked, hurriedly pulling on clothes and shoving items into a backpack. 3 weeks ago, she would have questioned everything, but being bonded to Krelix had taught her when to act first and ask questions later. I have a small research vessel hidden outside your city, Krelix explained. We must reach it before the enforcers track our bond signature. They slipped out through the fire escape, the cool night air raising goosebumps on Olivia's arms. She could feel Krelix's anxiety pulsing through their connection, sharp and electric. Can they track us through the bond? She whispered as they hurried through empty streets. Yes, Krelix confirmed. The bond creates a unique energy signature. Normally, this would be impossible to detect from a distance, but the enforcers have specialized equipment. They reached her car, and Olivia drove while Krelix monitored a small device that emitted soft beeping sounds at irregular intervals. 3 enforcers, he announced grimly. They've landed ahead of schedule. Olivia gripped the steering wheel tighter. What exactly are these enforcers capable of? They can assume any form, manipulate electrical systems, and carry weapons designed to incapacitate without leaving evidence, Krelix explained. The collective prefers clean removals. Fantastic, Olivia muttered, taking a sharp turn onto a back road. And why exactly are we running instead of explaining? Surely your people have some kind of due process? The punishment for unauthorized bonding is separation, Krelix said quietly. Forced immediate separation. Isn't that what we want? Olivia asked. To end this bond? Not like this. Krelix's voice dropped lower. Forced separation is extremely painful, often fatal for both parties. Olivia's blood ran cold. You didn't mention that particular detail before? I didn't anticipate being discovered, Krelix admitted. The collective rarely monitors this sector. A blinding light suddenly swept over the car, and the engine died without warning. Olivia wrestled with the steering wheel as they coasted. To a stop. They found us, Krelix said unnecessarily. 3 tall figures approached the car, their forms shifting like smoke but gradually solidifying into humanoid shapes with featureless faces. Researcher Krelix, a voice resonated, seeming to come from everywhere at once. You have violated Protocol 7. The bond must be severed. Surrender the human specimen. Krelix moved protectively in front of Olivia. The research is vital. Human agreed to participate. Irrelevant, the lead enforcer stated. Unauthorized bonds contaminate data and risk exposure of our existence. Wait, Olivia stepped forward, scientist's mind racing. Your concerns about contamination are valid, but severing the bond forcibly risks greater exposure. A dead human? Researcher will prompt investigation. The enforcers paused, faceless heads tilting in unison. Explain, one demanded. My colleagues know about my research, Olivia lied smoothly. If I disappear, they'll look for me and find evidence of extraterrestrial contact. But if you allow the bond to dissolve naturally, as Krelix planned, everything remains contained. It was a desperate bluff, but Olivia could feel Krelix's approval through their connection. The enforcers conferred silently among themselves. Unacceptable risk, they finally announced. Both subjects will be removed. The human habitat will be sanitized. Krelix grabbed Olivia's hand. "I'll run," he whispered. Now. They bolted into the darkness as energy pulses scorched the ground behind them. Hiding in the cramped confines of Krelix's research vessel, now orbiting Earth's moon, Olivia sorted through the databases he'd reluctantly given her access to. After 3 days of narrowly escaping the enforcers, she'd demanded the full truth. This isn't just about behavioral research, is it? She turned the screen toward Krelix, displaying genetic sequencing comparisons between humans and his species. "You're studying compatibility." Genetic compatibility? Krelix's human disguise had been abandoned in the safety of the ship, his natural blue form pulsing with nervous energy. "My primary mission parameters included behavioral study, but not the only parameters," Olivia pressed. "Why is your species so interested in human DNA?" Krelix's form dimmed slightly. "The Centauri Collective is dying. A genetic degradation syndrome has affected 82% of our population. Our scientists project complete species collapse within 3 generations, and humans are what potential donors?" Olivia asked incredulously. "Our species diverged from a common ancestor millions of years ago," Krelix explained. "Your DNA contains sequences we've lost adaptability, genes, immune responses, reproductive variations. Humanity evolved in harsh, changing conditions, while we engineered our environment to suit our needs." "So you're saying human DNA could save your species?" Olivia summarized. "Potentially," Krelix confirmed, but the collective leadership refuses to consider direct intervention. They believe our species should accept extinction rather than dilute our genetic purity. Olivia stared at him, realization dawning. "You're part of a resistance movement within your people." "We call ourselves continuity," Krelix acknowledged. "We believe survival justifies adaptation. The bond I formed with you was not just for research, it was to test compatibility at the cellular level." "Without my consent," Olivia reminded him sharply. "Yes," Krelix admitted. "It was wrong, but desperation drives difficult choices. My own sibling group has already succumbed to the syndrome." Olivia felt conflicted. The scientist in her was fascinated by the evolutionary implications, while the human in her was still angry about the deception. The enforcers, she realized. Suddenly, they're not just enforcing research protocols, they're enforcing genetic purity. "Correct," Krelix confirmed. "The collective would rather die pure than survive through change." Olivia shook her head in disbelief. "It's not evolution. That's extinction by choice." "Many agree with you," Krelix said, "but not those in power." Olivia turned back to the genetic sequences. So the bond is actually facilitating genetic exchange on a microscopic level. "Minimal exchange," Krelix clarified. "A test of compatibility. Only but yes. During our bonded period, your cellular materials and mine are ... communicating." "That's simultaneously fascinating and invasive," Olivia remarked. But her scientific curiosity was winning over her indignation. "Have you learned anything useful?" "Yes," Krelix's form brightened. "Human DNA is remarkably adaptive. The preliminary results suggest compatibility exceeding our most optimistic projections. Your species could indeed save mine." "Then we need to convince your collective," Olivia said decisively. "Not hide from them." "Impossible," Krelix insisted. "The enforcers are following orders based on incomplete information," Olivia interrupted. "We need to go over their heads." Krelix's form pulsed with what Olivia had learned to recognize. "As anxiety, what you're suggesting is extremely dangerous." "So is extinction," Olivia countered. "Sometimes the riskiest option is the only one worth taking." The Centauri Collective's central chamber wasn't designed to accommodate humans. The lighting pulsed at frequencies that gave Olivia migraines, and the atmosphere contained trace elements that made her skin itch. To pay for the chance to prevent an interspecies conflict and save Krelix's people, their plan had been audacious. Instead of running from the enforcers, they surrendered, but demanded a full council hearing. It was their right under collective law, though no outsider had ever invoked it before, now surrounded by thousands of blue, luminous beings in various stages of physical degradation. Olivia understood the full scale of the crisis. Many Centauri were visibly deteriorating, their once bright forms now dull and unstable. "The human will address the council," announced the elder, a massive consciousness whose form encompassed the entire ceiling of the chamber. Olivia stepped forward, feeling Krelix's encouragement through their bond. "Members of the Centauri Collective," she began, her voice amplified and translated by the chamber's systems. "I stand before you not as an experiment or a specimen, but as a representative of Earth offering cooperation." Murmurs rippled through the assembly. "Researcher Krelix violated our highest laws." The elder's voice resonated. "Unauthorized bonding, genetic exchange without council approval, exposure of our existence to an undeveloped species." "With respect," Olivia countered, "your laws are killing you. Sometimes survival requires breaking rules that no longer serve their purpose." She displayed the genetic research Krelix had conducted, projected now for all to see. "Your species is declining because you've engineered your genes too perfectly. You've removed the chaos that drives adaptation. Humans still have that chaos. It's our greatest strength. Genetic purity has been our way for millennia," the elder responded. "Better extinction than corruption." "That's not wisdom speaking, it's fear," Olivia challenged. "The fear of change, of becoming something different than what you were before." She felt Krelix tense beside her, as shocked reactions rippled through the chamber. No one spoke to the elders this way. "Evolution isn't corruption," Olivia continued. "It's survival. It's life finding a way forward. My species has faced extinction dozens of times, ages, plagues, our own destructive tendencies, but we adapted. We changed. We survived. At what cost?" The elder demanded. "Your planet is damaged, your society's fractured, your future uncertain. But we have a future," Olivia emphasized. "We're offering to share it with you. Not through invasion or force, but through cooperation." She felt the bond with Krelix pulse strongly. He was adding his own silent testimony, too, her words sharing the knowledge he'd gained during their time together. "The human speaks with unusual wisdom," a different elder noted. "Perhaps there is merit in hearing their proposal." Olivia seized the opportunity. "A controlled genetic exchange program. Voluntary participation. No bonds without consent. Research. Conducted openly with representatives from both species." The chamber filled with discussion as the Centauri debated among themselves at speeds Olivia couldn't follow. Minutes stretched into hours as she stood patiently, Krelix beside her, their bond providing her with fragments of the massive conversation happening around them. Finally, the elder spoke again. "We will consider your proposal. The bond between researcher Krelix and the human Olivia Reed will be permitted to dissolve naturally as a test case. If the genetic exchange proves viable without degradation to either party, further cooperation will be discussed." Relief flooded through Olivia, matched by Krelix's joy pulsing through their connection. "There is one condition," the elder added. "Knowledge of our existence must remain contained until formal contact protocols are established." "Agreed," Olivia said without hesitation. "My government will be thrilled enough with the theoretical xenobiology research I've conducted." They left the chamber. Krelix's form brightened to a luminosity Olivia hadn't seen before. "You used humanity's greatest weapon," he observed. "Which is?" Olivia asked. "Stubborn optimism in the face of impossible odds," Krelix replied. "Your species always believes it can find a way forward, even when logic suggests otherwise." Olivia smiled. "That's not a weapon. That's hope." "Perhaps they are the same thing," Krelix suggested. "Either way, it appears to be contagious. You've infected an entire species with it today. 3 days later, as their bond began, it's natural. Dissolution, Olivia found, she would miss the constant presence of her alien research partner. But as one connection ended, a much larger one was just beginning. A bridge between two species that might ensure both would see the stars for generations to come. "What happens after the bond dissolves completely?" she asked as they watched Earth rise over the lunar horizon from his ship. "I return to my people. You too, yours," Krelix said. "But not as strangers, as the first of many connections." Olivia nodded, watching their home planet gleaming blue and white against the blackness of space. Not a bad outcome for an unauthorized research project. Indeed, Krelix agreed, his form pulsing with what Olivia now recognized as humor. Though perhaps next time, we should start with proper introductions before biological bonding. Definitely, Olivia laughed. Humans are funny that way. We'd like to get to know someone before becoming literally inseparable. That's the final threads of their bond gently unraveled. Olivia realized that sometimes the greatest discoveries happened not through careful planning, through unexpected connections across species, across galaxies, and across the vast differences that initially seemed insurmountable.